Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live ancestral healing talk as well as meditation. Um, so, I would like you guys to, if you can, share this live. I'm not sure how to do that on here, but I'm going to definitely do that on my phone. Okay, let me go ahead and share this to everyone on Facebook so that you guys can come over here. um, if you guys want to ask questions, you have to log into your YouTube account in order for that to happen. Let me see. Just posting. Apologize for that. Okay, so let's see. I don't see any. If you're here, please say hi. Okay, live chat, all messages are visible. Hi, Rachel. Okay, let's see. Let me just go ahead and post one more place. Okay. Hi, Gina. Okay. All right. So let's wait until everybody, a little bit more people come in so we could talk. Okay. Had to clear my throat. I just got like, and I hate doing this. I always like mess, like, I need to stop drinking coffee with creamer. That's for sure. Because it does that. It like gives me some phlegm. It's gross. All right. Okay. I think that's it. All right. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Someone's sending a message. Again, for those who are just coming on here, you need to log into your YouTube account in order for you to pretty much send messages or participate in the chat, okay? Okay. All right. We're just going to begin in like a minute since I am on a schedule here, and I know you guys are on schedules as well. All right, so give them one more minute and that's it. How's everybody feeling, by the way? How are you guys feeling with this energy? There's a lot of stuff going around, a lot of healing, a lot of deep-rooted emotions coming up due to it's still kind of connected to the full moon and this eclipse energy that we had. It definitely opened a lot of portals to bring in higher frequencies. But in order for those higher frequencies to be implemented and pretty much, allowed in our bodies or for us to benefit from that, we need to clear, right? We need to clear our energy fields of things that no longer serve us, things that are holding us back, things that are creating limiting beliefs. So it is very important to do that work first. And it's hard work for a lot of us, but it's worth it. Do that work first and then allow these sacred energies in for your highest and best to change your life for the better. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this live was because my ancestors, I've been working with my ancestors for a very long time. Coming back from Mexico this past November, it was very much a need for the ancestral lines of my family to be cleared and healed and all that stuff. I only thought that it was just from my mom's side of the family, but in recent time, it's been definitely connected to my father's side because of the energies of the masculines pretty much needing healing. What we are failing to acknowledge is that masculine energy within us, especially women. A lot of us tend to have a predominantly kind of like a narrow point of view when it comes to energy, where we connect more with the feminine because we are women, and we tend to neglect our masculine side, so that becomes an unbalanced energy in both masculine and feminine. And this has a lot to do with the way that we perceive our masculine beings, like humans in the world. If we have issues with a masculine in our life, maybe we had issues with our fathers or grandfathers or cousins or brothers or lovers, whatever it is, we tend to, in so many ways, not connect in that energy for too long because it brings up these feelings of whatever it is that you had to deal with masculine in your life. So I noticed that about myself, where I wanted to help my mother's side more because a majority of my gifts and the majority of my traditional point of view came from her side of the family, because that's the side of the family that we went to. Like when we were kids, we were raised with. Okay, it doesn't mean that my father's side of the family wasn't there, but it meant predominantly we were raised in my mother's side of the family. And my grandmother herself was a curandera, even though she never admitted it. She had vials and vials of herbs, and she would make you tea and with these herbs and tell you, okay, this is good for this is good for that. um, but because of her religious practice, she never admitted what she was doing because it was like not condoned by the church. Okay, and she was heavily Catholic. And it's the funny thing about this is that I noticed a kind of like a cycle in the family, where for a time period, especially when I was a child, everybody would go to church except for like a few of them. I believe like the older children didn't. They're just like, nah. um, but the younger ones did, except for like, I think like a few of the younger kids, my mom's side of the family, her siblings, didn't really get into going to church every Sunday. And so my mom tried, like she really did. She really tried to get us to go to church every Sunday. And of course, I would have a fit and I would embarrass her and I would cause trouble and all kinds of things. So I was always getting punished. Let's put it that way. Always getting punished, grounded, always getting punished, always getting yelled at because I always questioned everything when I was a kid. I didn't understand. Like, I was curious too because I wanted to understand why people thought the way they did. Why did we have to feel guilty for something that we didn't do, right? So after that, I noticed this cycle in my family where that same guilt came up all the time. And it had a lot to do with the imbalance within the masculine and feminine energies within the family, due to the way that my grandmother and grandfather's relationship was. With my grandmother, and this is, again, this is old world stuff. Like, this is what was acceptable back then. Okay. Just letting you guys know. Back in the I would say 1950s. Okay. 1950s, in Mexico, especially, it was acceptable to marry off your children. Yes, I'm saying children, at age 14, 15. Okay. It was as soon as they would get their first moon, they would start, men would start looking at them in a different way. So, or will start asking for them to be married to them, or however the hell that freaking worked. But my grandmother was young when she had her first child. I think she said she was 14 years old. And my grandfather, I don't know how old he was. I'm sure he was older than that. Um, the situation that occurred in their relationship was very unhealthy. It was very much a loveless union. He would come around when he wanted, okay, let's just say that, and he would have his own, like, a different family somewhere else. So he was pretty much planting seeds, like making children with others, and not connecting in that way, as a sacred union should. So this kind of played out in the cycles of what I've noticed within the children themselves, where they ended up with people who were not faithful, who did not value them, like how it happened with my grandmother. So this then brought up a lot of issues with the sacred feminine and sacred masculine, and how to balance that out. I noticed this within my own relationships with masculines. I noticed that I didn't value myself, or I thought that love should be like that, and because that's how I saw it in my family. So it was conditioned, it was programmed in me that a relationship should be unhealthy, that it should be a struggle, that it should be you doing everything for them and wishing for the best, wishing or praying that they won't cheat on you, or praying that they won't abuse you, or, stuff like that. And so that type of conditioning is unhealthy. And with ancestral work, we have to find out the root cause of these things that happen to us, where we think that love should be that way. Where did that come from? And so when we look at our ancestry, and we look at, especially if we know about certain situations in our families, we see where it's pinpointed and how it came to be in our own energy, or how we created it as well. So that's some triggers right there, and understanding how to remove these cycles, and why it's necessary to do that, especially if you are the healer, or the pretty much the head of the family at this time. Not necessarily like physically you're the head of the family, more like energetically, because you're the one who is aware of what's really going on, what you see, the cycles, and you see what needs to be healed. Okay. So another thing that you will notice, besides the way that the masculine and feminine energies are not balanced, another thing you can notice is patterns of prejudices within your own self, or in your family. So I'll give you guys an example with my family, and this is coming from my dad's side of the family, and I had to really understand why. I had to really, really look at that cycle and see where it came from. So As a child, I tended to be very reserved, meaning that I didn't like being around people that much because I felt very sick and very just anxious around people. I didn't know this back then, but what I was picking up was their energy field, tapping into the way that they perceive the world, and any other stuff that was very lower vibrational. So I tended to argue a lot with like my own cousins that were my age. I tended to not like them, lash out at them, and I tended to want to isolate myself more than anything else. And so the reasons why I found, and it's funny because as a child, you don't know how to process this stuff. You just think you're just like, they just make you mad, right? You don't know why. So when I was looking at these cycles as to why I was holding so much prejudice against people as a kid, people pretty much my age and adults, I noticed that it was the way I perceived them, not knowing exactly why I didn't like them. And then I thought, oh, okay, so they did this or they said that, and that's why I didn't like them, and that's why I didn't want to be around them. So this is a cycle that I had to heal, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been judging these people forever. And so the cycle that I was judging from them is unacceptance. And it was playing out within me too, that I was not very accepting of them because of the way that they perceive things, right? And I would give you guys an example, like, hi Linda. When I was a kid, I remember this because it was like a big fight with my cousins. When I was a kid, I had a little cousin. She was born about 2 years after I was. Um, she tended to tell on my other cousins if they were being naughty, if they were doing something bad, if they were making fun of kids, or if they even said a cuss word. So she tended to run off and tell the adults that they were being this way. So it didn't bother me because I thought it was wrong too. So I remember one time the older cousins, they were I think about 2 years or 3 years older than us. They went and they said to her, like they made her cry. They're like, "You're a snitch. You're not ever gonna play with us ever again because we don't trust you and you're a snitch," or whatever. And then she was crying and I got really mad. Like I got so mad that I wanted to fight them. I was just like, I was like, you guys are bad people. Like I straight out said it, like, you're bad, you're evil. That's why she says the things she says, because you guys are bad and you're evil. Prejudice again, right? So I told him, I was like, if you ever touch her or if you ever yell at her, make her cry again, I will kick your butt. That was me. And they're older than me too, so I was like really mad at them. And then so then I went and like told my mom, because she heard me saying that and she yelled at me, how can you talk to your cousins like that, da 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 da, and all this stuff, right? And I was just like, okay, it's because they were saying really horrible things to a neighbor kid. Okay, they were saying like that he was they were just calling him names just to antagonize him because he refused to play with them. And then I told her, I was like, they're being mean to the neighbor kid. They were calling him names and they were saying all this horrible stuff. And then they were bullying each other, like they were fighting with each other. And so I told her that's why my little cousin was crying, because they yelled at her too for snitching on them. And then I told my mom they're evil because they're evil people. That's why they're doing that. So I saw this pattern of prejudice within me being played out, with my family members, because they had prejudice as well. So I knew as an adult that I had to clear that out. Like, why is it that we still feel this way about other people just because they don't want to be with us or around us or get to know us or be our friends? There's a lot of cycles of pretty much like not being wanted in the family. And so I had to deal with that as well. And then there was another one about racism that came up big time because I was seeing it in my external world and not necessarily happening to me, but more like I was seeing it happening, like, you know, when you see it in social media, you see it, the media always plays something about separation between the races, of some type of fight or some type of argument, you know. So when I kept seeing this pattern of separation, this pattern of racism, and this kind of like right in your face, like it's making it very obvious that you got to look at this. And so I explored it and I was like, well, I was never that way when I was a kid, so where is this coming from? Why am I seeing this? And then I saw it coming from my father's side and from my mother's side in some instances, with them as well. We used to live in the Los Angeles area, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there was a lot of racial tensions between Hispanics and Black people there, as well as white people. And so Hispanic families tend to be very vocal and very just horrible when it comes to the way that we deal with racism. Uh, I would remember some oftentimes that I would hear my own uncles and even their children say something in Spanish, like something horrible in Spanish about, you know, non-Hispanic people, about Black people, about white people. And I just never understood like why, because I, even though we lived in the Los Angeles area, my mom actually separated us from her, like living around that area with her family. We were out in the Bay Area, and so we had uh more of a diverse culture out there, and there was more acceptance. And so where they lived, it was more about racial tensions, about gang members fighting gang members, about the Bloods and the Crips and the Hispanic gangs and stuff like that. And so it was all over their face, you know. But there is no excuse for that behavior either. So I had to explore that as well. I had to explore it because it was coming up in the news media about the same thing, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, why is this still being shown? So in so many ways, it triggered a remembrance of how that behavior was prominent in both of my families. And so I had to go and explore that, and where did it come from. And it took me back to like centuries back in that lineage, about even all the way down to when the conquistadores came to Mexico, and they slaughtered a bunch of Indians there, or they forced a lot of women, a lot of Native women to have children or get married, and stuff like that. It was a lot of that going on, and so I had to explore that, as well as different lifetimes of this type of tension. So regardless of what is triggering you, regardless of what is that you need to see, you need to understand that a lot of the things that we start seeing outside of ourselves, like around our society, usually has a link to something that needs to be healed, okay? Either within you or within your lineage, okay? It's not necessarily all you, it's mostly the lineage. I know I've seen that. Like, I would say, like, am I really like this? Like, am I still like, do I hold this type of energy? And then I always, like, my guides always lead me to a person, like I see a face. Oh, they do. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if what we can do with that healing for the entire lineage. So this is what it is, you guys. If you see it, and if it triggers you, if it upsets you, like you really get upset and you engage in the like confronting whoever is saying something that upsets you, it's definitely connected. It's definitely connected to either yourself, your internal turmoil, or wounds that you probably um, might have encountered yourself in your lifetime, or it's triggered to your family. It could be your cousins, it could be your grandparents, it could be even people that you never met in your family before. It's just the lineage energy that's coming to the surface to be acknowledged, to be healed. So that's what usually happens. And I want to tell you guys, this is how we deal with things in Toltec shamanism. When we see something that bothers us, like it truly bothers us about other people or about what we're seeing in society, it is definitely something that needs to be acknowledged to be healed. Okay, it's not necessarily placing the blame on the social constructs. It's about taking responsibility for your lineage as well, and seeing who was still doing that in your family or who still thinks that way as well. So it's about understanding to clear that energy, to remove it so that we won't see that anymore in our society. We will remove when we work on ourselves, we remove a lot of things, we heal a lot of things. And usually people who antagonize these things within us are being sent for a purpose, for that very purpose. That's what Toltec shamanism is all about, is knowing that you have messengers for stuff that needs to be explored within you or within your lineage. All right, not necessarily to kill the messenger or fight fire with fire, but understand that, okay, they triggered something within me, and I would like to think that I'm not this way. So let's explore, where is it coming from? Okay, so usually that's the whole spiel about ancestry healing, where if you see it constantly and you know for a fact that you're not like that, and you know that you still you've explored a lot of things about yourself, but you know that it triggered a memory, and that's why it got you really upset about somebody that you probably met sometime in your life, then that's how you know that it needs to be healed. That's how you know that the ancestry is involved, okay? Especially if it's family related. That's what I figured out a long time ago, that a lot of the things that I was seeing around me, even though it had nothing to do with me, technically, it was triggering some type of wanting to explore that within my family. Like, memories would come up, like of my uncles saying certain things, my cousins doing certain things, and stuff like that. And so I was just like, well, I never participated in that, but I know who has. So I was like, okay, it's time to clear this. It's time to heal this. It's time to remove this from our family lineage, because it's not necessary anymore. It's not necessary to hold on to these wounds. It's not necessary to hold on to prejudices, racism, whatever you want to call it, limiting beliefs. That's what they are. Because it limits us. It limits us as a whole consciousness from seeing the truth of the veils of illusion here in the 3D world, which are technically not really here. If you start exploring energy and you go to higher realms of creation, you will see that it is not truly there. It's just a program within us that needs to be cleared, okay? So that you can get to the point where you're like, okay, this is just a program. This is just trying to make me fall back into the illusion that there is separation, and the illusion that there is hatred, and the illusion that there is limiting things. Like, the illusion, for one, there is a big illusion about manifesting, where we think that, oh man, we can't get certain things, where the fear of lack is in play. This illusion is simply an illusion, and it's simply your own limiting belief that is causing the illusion to continue, okay? So if you feel that you don't deserve success, that you don't deserve a high-paying job, that you don't deserve whatever it is that you truly desire in your life, then you are the one limiting yourself, okay? And this, it needs to be explored as well. Where is it coming from? Were you programmed as a child to not want something because it was evil, or it was considered inappropriate due to your family's point of view, or inappropriate due to any type of religion practice? Were you limiting or did they limit you in believing that you weren't going to be successful, that you weren't going to be whatever it is that you wanted to be as a child? It's about those things. It's always going to be coming back from a program, okay? And so many times it could be from a past life. So there's like a lot of interconnected energy right there. So it is very important to explore these things without having without being so hard on yourself too. Okay. I would like to say this as well with these triggers, with these people coming into our lives as the messenger. If we react to the message, meaning that we go ahead and retaliate from it, and not deal with it, they're going to continue to come. Okay. The cycle is not going to end unless you deal with it in the proper way. And it's okay if you get angry, and it's okay if you lash out, but the next time the cycle presents itself, remember the way that you treated it the first time. Okay, because this is about learning. This is about learning and growth, and not to beat yourself up either because of your reactions. Okay, it is about maintaining the proper reaction for the trigger so that the trigger won't come back. And it is also about clearing that the wound that caused the trigger reaction. Okay, so again, it's just a lot of energy that is interconnected to us because we are here as the main healers of our lineage. Okay, and that's a big task, that's a big responsibility, and it's a high honor in the spiritual realms that you decided to come to this earth and you chose the lineage that you wanted to choose to be born into, to assist them in clearing and healing at finally all of the centuries of this chaotic energy, of these wounds, of all of this. It's a high honor, and obviously you are very powerful in your own right because you took it upon yourself as a soul of love and light to reincarnate here and choose that lineage to assist it with healing. So you have to understand it in that perspective. Don't think that, oh man, why the hell did I do this? Make sure that you understand it's because you, as a divine creation, have the power, have the abilities to finally assist in the clearing and the healing of these wounds for this lineage. Okay, maybe at one point in time you were your own ancestor, and that's so funny because that's how we perceive it in Toltec shamanism, that we are the main ancestor, meaning that when we call ourselves in, or our ancestry in, we are a part of that ancestry too. So it's kind of like, what? So we're the ones tasked to hold up the clearing and the healing of these wounds, and to assist our lineage to become better, and to assist them to rise above it, and to assist them to finally get the pretty much like get to the point of understanding who they really are as an internal light that shines bright, as well as eternal soul that will continue to do its work here upon the earth, but do it in a better way, whenever they're incarnated. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about regarding the need for ancestral healing. If you have the need, you will know. You will know because it's a trigger that might be showing you something that it's not even yours. That's how you know mostly, is that the triggers outside of you have nothing to do with you. And then you explore those triggers and you see, holy shit, it's my family. Like, or it's within my family, and or it could be something that you actually dealt with when you were a kid with your family too, because that's usually how it works with me. Like, I like with my prejudice against my family, meaning that I was so judgmental against how they behaved that I didn't want anything to do with them. That was something that I had to deal with. It's understanding that regardless of their behavior, regardless of what they were doing, and yes, it was wrong, I still have a duty to them I still have a duty to them to assist them in clearing that and assisting them in understanding that that behavior is not correct, you know. And so that was something that I understood about myself, that I still hold judgments till this day, or did till this day, with my family, you know, where I was just like, why are they like that? Why can't they be, you know, like why can't they be like this, or why can't they, you know, or like kind of like being ashamed or embarrassed in so many ways because of that behavior, like being embarrassed publicly because of that behavior, you know, stuff like that. So it's definitely something related to it. And so I had to explore it and had to explore the extent of it within the lineage. So that's definitely something that we all need to see, especially if we're being triggered with something that has nothing to do with us. All right, you guys. So we're going to begin. We're going to begin the ritual and the healing meditation. Let me just go ahead and let's see. Gonna try to find a different song, but for the ritual, we're going to start it with the Nahuatl tradition, Toltec tradition, healing, ancestry healing. I use binaural beats whenever I need to clear and heal my ancestry. It just clears the genetic coding of the wound, and it does remove any type of genetic blockages or limiting beliefs that we may have to assist our families with. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. One.
Our potential is way up here, and we are operating way down here.
You're not going to survive.
No, that's not it. I'll do. There we go. Oh my God. No. Sorry. Here we go. Here's the binaural beat. Okay. All right. We'll do that one. I like that one. Let me know if you guys can hear these drums. So with this, I recommend that you guys grab a crystal. I would say grab a clearing crystal, something that will clear your fields and energy. Okay, so it would be something like a tourmaline, black tourmaline, or a dark crystal like this. This is called a black Tibetan quartz. I always use this to clear my field and energy of like residual energy or any type of lower vibrational energy. Or you could even grab an obsidian crystal, or actually it's a glass, because obsidian is glass technically. So do something dark or grounding. Okay, like I would say kyanite, blue kyanite will help as well. Okay, and so grab that right now. This is what we're gonna do. All right, so grab your clearing crystal first, and then we're gonna grab a healing crystal. Okay, a healing crystal will be something like amethyst, rose quartz will be a really good one actually, and you could do rainbow moonstone. You could even do selenite, and let's see, or even a clear quartz crystal if you have one. Okay, because clear quartz usually has it's a very diverse crystal. It'll pretty much do whatever you need it to do. Okay, so if you program it to say, okay, say you talk to your crystal and you say, please assist me with bringing in healing energy, then it'll help you with it. Okay, so whatever you have in your crystal toolbox, just choose that. Okay, so we'll do that. And if you guys do have like I would say white sage or Palo Santo, or even, no, we'll just do those two. Palo Santo or white sage, I would say light it up now, because again, we're clearing first. We're clearing our lineage of any of that stuff. And then from there, we're going to be healing it. Okay. So we're going to be bringing in energy. So after you are done with the white sage, or it's done, you know, done using it in Palo Santo, you can use sweetgrass. You can use even essential oils. Okay. Something that'll bring in healing. So sweetgrass will be one. Also, I would use, where are you? I would use lavender as well, because lavender helps you relax and it brings in healing energy as well. Or you could use a crystal, whatever you desire. But I would definitely light up white sage or Palo Santo at the beginning, okay? All right, you guys. So go ahead and do that now. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to gather all your stuff, whatever it is that you want to get for this. Let's see. I'm gonna do obsidian because this is coming straight from Mexico. So we're gonna use this one from Teotihuacan. This is where I got it from that from the volcano over there. That's where they mine this and they create these beautiful polished obsidian stones. So we're going to do that to clear myself and my ancestry. And then I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use rose quartz to bring in healing energy, because it's going to be heart-centered stuff too. So hold on, you guys. Okay, so here's my rose quartz. So I'm going to use this to assist with bringing in the healing. Okay, so light up your white sage or Palo Santo. As I'm doing here. This is just a mixture of clearing herbs. Let's see, and protection herbs. I have cedar wood, and then I have bunch of other herbs. So okay, spreading it out. Okay. And back. And your feet. Okay. All right, you guys. We're going to begin now, okay? So go ahead and get your clearing stone first. First, we're going to go ahead and do a medicine wheel. That is traditionally done for the Nahuatl Toltec Shamans. So we're going to begin now. Cast a circle around us now. Now, turn our direction to the east. We welcome the guardians of the region of light, the place where the sun rises, the place where the dyed flower flourishes in light. The region of West Now direct your energies to the south. Awi, Ascando, Plaza Polisi, Huixlapan, Chaneque, Izanacui, Huatzatapatlan, Texacutu, Huixlacuan, Texacutu, Texacupoca, Ayayan, Tatopopi. Now we ask for the presence and we welcome the guardians of the region of the luminous storms. Place where the sun sits halfway in the sky. Place of the powerful smoky mirror. Region of Wixi Polopopli. We offer you our thanks. Now direct your energies to the west. Omen, Ascan, Ukapalotli, Isukutapla, Chaneke, Itatapu, Emua, Igayan, Iyatakwa, Patabotoki, Iayan, Mayan, Uen, Iwatu, Inayan, Sipe, Now we welcome the guardians of the region of women. The place of the where the sun is set, the place of the water region of the narrow Pacific, of the Magay, and of the cloud's name, place of Sipet Toltec, the fleshless. Direct your energy to the north. Yay, a skyhunter, Taquatopolis, Itapla, Chaneke, Itatui, Inisakayan, Tetekutep, Tosapia, Tanasi, Huatikui, Iayan, Akipoka. Now we salute and we direct our energies and welcome the guardians of the place of the dead, place of where the sun sleeps, place of the obsidian wind, which cuts our face like the knife. Region of the Huatikui, the one with the snake skirt, region of the Huatikui of the Huatikui. Now we welcome the energy of the cosmos, the energy of God, Goddess, Source energy, all to come into our energy field now. We welcome the Mother, the Earth, the spirits of the earth as well. We welcome our ancestors on both sides of the family, of our mother and our father. We welcome them all now. Now, go ahead and collect your clearing stone. We will begin with clearing our ancestor lineage from our mother's side first. Breathe in deeply. Exhale slowly. And welcome one of your ancestors from your mother's side to step forward. Ask this ancestor to reveal to you what it is that needs to be healed at this time. And this could be revealed in many ways, either through a sensation within the body, physically, any type of dense energy within the physical body, any type of muscle tension, any type of poking, any type of touching, any type of energy that feels cold or hot within a region in the body. This can also be given to you as a face, an image of somebody within your family, or even a recollection of a memory, something that you have witnessed, or even a word or even an emotion. So go ahead and listen intently and feel and allow your ancestor to guide you to what needs to be cleared at this time. Continue to breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Allow you yourself to open up to this information. If the information has been revealed to you, and if it's located within your physical body, go ahead and set your attention to that location, or place your clearing stone over that location. Now, with an out breath, breathing out, breathe that energy, that memory, that wound into your stone now. Continue to breathe in and out until all of that is removed from your physical body, or the memory from your mind, or the energy from your field. Be Feel the emotion. If you feel the emotion connected to this wound and this energy, allow it to really be released into the stone. Remember, we are supposed to be observing this energy, okay? If we dive too deeply into it, it becomes a part of us. And we need to clear that, okay? Especially if it didn't really happen directly to you. Detachment is the key for healing the ancestry lineage. Now, as soon as you are finished with placing all of that energy, all of that residual energy, the wound, into the clearing stone, I want you to put the clearing stone in between your hands and ask for whoever you want. It could be an archangel, it could be an ascended master, it could be an ancestor that is a healer. It could even be God's source energy as a light energy. To clear this, I use the violet transmuted flame to assist with clearing the stone and transmuting the energy that is within the stone. However you feel is best, go ahead and do that now. Clearing, and transmuting that one. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Now, take your healing stone. Go ahead and place it in the location where that wound was initially. And ask for its healing light connected to God's source healing energy now to fill the location of that initial wound. Fill it up with healing light. Send the healing light through that lineage as well. All the way through the lineage, through your mother, through your grandmother, through her family, through their family, so on and so forth. Send that healing through all of them. You're led to send healing to yourself in a past life. Go ahead and do that as well. Now, place your healing stone down. And thank your ancestor from your mother's side of the family for assisting you in seeing what needed to be healed at this time. Now we welcome an ancestor from your father's side of the family to step forward and assist us in locating and understanding what needs to be healed on our father's side of the family. Again, this could be done or given to us through a sensation in our physical body, maybe an emotion that rises up, maybe information in showing us pictures of situations or people, whatever it is, allow yourself to bring that up so that you can commence the healing of it. Breathe in deeply. Exhale slowly and allow this information to come in. Whatever it is you receive, trust it, trust it, trust it. It is what needs to be healed at this time. Now that you have found out what needs to be healed, grab your removal stone, clearing stone, and place it in the location where you feel this. Either your body and your energy field, it could be your feelings. With the feelings that you have, place it over your heart, okay? Makes it easier to gather them there. Now, with every out breath that you breathe, release it into the stone for clearing. Breathe in deeply. Exhale and release. Continue to do that. Again, if it's an emotion, go ahead and release the emotion. Understand that it's not your emotion. So we need to detach from it to release, to be healed. Release, release, release. Release, release, release. Now, gather up your stone, palm of your hands, and ask for assistance in transmuting and releasing and removing that energy, that mood from your stone. Clearing it, clearing it, clearing. Transmuting, transmuting, transmuting. Now gather your healing stone and place it in the location where the wound once was. Place the healing in there to fill up that location, and then move it towards your dad's side of the family to include him. Move that healing energy through them all the way back. Again, if it's a past life, do that as well. Go ahead and do that now. Healing, healing, healing. Healing, Now, when you are completely done, you're going to go ahead and thank your ancestor on your father's side for revealing to you what it is that needed to be healed at this time. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly. Understand that if you are led back to this meditation to continue the same healing for both lineages, that it's perfectly okay because there are layers, many, many layers to healing. Sometimes we're led back to the same wound. Now we shall close the circle. Go ahead and close your circle. Anchor in those energies and thank your ancestors for being here. Thank your guides for being here. Thank the cosmic energies, God Goddess. Thank the Mother Earth energies. Thank the cardinal directions, sacred energies of the north, south, east, and west. Thank all of these energies for assisting you today. And thank yourself for being brave enough, powerful enough to assist in healing these wounds from your ancestry and your lineage. And so it is. Okay, everyone. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much for doing this for yourselves and for your ancestry and pretty much humanity. So again, you guys, if you are led back to this meditation, this post or whatnot, and if it's the same wounds, then don't be discouraged because there's layers to wounds. And so if it's necessary for your ancestry again to heal this, then go ahead and continue to do that, okay? Especially if you see the similar wound being played out in, your family, or you yourself get triggered again for the same wound. So it is very necessary to continue on the work as there are layers to this energy, to these wounds. And you could even go all the way back to a past life this time. It could be related to that. Whatever it is that you're being shown by your ancestors, just go with it, okay? There is no right or wrong way to do this. It's whatever you feel is best for you and your ancestry, as you are the keeper of the ancestry. You are the matriarch. You are the patriarch. You are the head of the family, technically. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you again for watching and for participating. And I hope you guys enjoy this and have a great day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.